Good afternoon. My name is Scott Rutherford, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com. Welcome to today's recap and look ahead.
观众朋友们，大家好，欢迎收看今天的直击美股，我是主持人张舒，在纽约向您问好。5月的第一个交易日，美股收涨，而三大股指的涨幅均在0.66%之上。我们看到今天市场是受到了一系列的提振，但是主要原因是因为上周四和周五市场有一些超卖行为。今天在宏观基本面的数据方面，美国供应管理协会的制造业指数4月份是达到了50.8，而制造业的采购经理人指数同样也是50.8。虽然相比于3月份这个数字都有一些下降，但是由于制造业指数在50以上，就表示温和扩张，因此这样的下降并没有给市场带来很多的压力。好的，更多的消息让我们来看一下今天交易员的独家分析。Hi, Scott. U.S. stocks traded higher with consumer discretionary and financial leading the advancers. There's a saying, though it sounds silly, sell in May and go away, but it does imply that this May just not that historically well performed. And also today VIX is traded near 15. So how do you think about the overall market?
Well, they say sell in May and go away, but it doesn't mean May 2nd. It could be May 17th. But historically, you know, the most money is made not between May and September. It's usually between like October through April. So there is some credence to that. But at this point, you know, I would take more, you know, if you're actively trading for cash flow, you know, or alpha, you know, the action. And whenever you come into a new month, you get some new monthly flows that are allocated to mutual funds and hedge funds. And then after a 50 to 60 handle pull in, you know, we were thinking we get some type of bounce. The question is, you know, will it get rejected or have legs? You look here at the chart of the SPX, you will see, you know, this wall of resistance, you know, is still out there, okay, but it's higher. It's all the way out here around 2120. And then you have this other level here, which we touched, which was closer to about, you know, 2111. So what we know is the double bottom that happened earlier this year. Here's when the market showed commitment to that double bottom. And then what we did is we broke this ascending channel last week. So a lot of momentum guys got out of the way or maybe got short for what was then some follow through to the downside on Friday. So you take a close look here to see actively what we're looking at, and the bottom line is you came in from the highs here of about 2111. We put a low in on Friday at 2052, and now we had a bounce. Now for the sellers to remain in active control, they're probably not going to want to let this market get too far above this spot, which comes in around 2085. So right around here, if the sellers can't reject the market, they might get squeezed back to highs. If they sell it down here, maybe, you know, we're back in this range. So I think today was an easy type bounce off of oversold conditions. Tomorrow it might be a little bit more tough.
Apple extended recent gains. It tried 4 gains in the afternoon, but it closed lower, posting the first 8-day losing streak since 1998. So it makes me think that this situation has never happened to Apple, even in 2000 and 2008. So how bad the situation is for Apple, and also does this decline in Apple impact other tech giants like Facebook and Amazon?
Well, right now you can't put, you know, Amazon and Facebook in the same category as Apple because they've kind of like isolated the weakness to Apple. But at this point, it is a little concerning that Apple's been so weak with such stellar numbers. And why is Apple trading at such a low multiple compared to almost 40 other names in the S&P or more? So, you know, for me, I'm not going to ask too many questions. All I know is that, you know, Apple has been broken and it's remained broken for quite some time. Okay, so at this point, you know, if you're trying to be long Apple versus 92 support area, you better be careful because if this area were to break, you could see trouble. But like you said, down 8 days in a row, okay, or down from, remember when we talked about selling Apple right here when it broke this trend line, when it broke this 110.50 here, if you sold there, maybe you could try a little bit here. You know, and I think Tim Cook will be on Fast Money tonight, so not Fast Money, Mad Money. If maybe he comes out and says something to lend some credibility or show support, maybe there's, you know, a bounce that could happen, but there's a huge hole in this chart. So if it doesn't get above this fast and start to get away from this danger zone, okay, I'm not going to ask any questions because it could break and then you could see, you know, a bigger move down into the 80s. So I think Apple's in a very important spot.
Okay, and also today Baidu is declined for almost 8%. The catalyst is the news that the Chinese internet authorities will send an investigation team to Baidu over a death of a university student, because this student used Baidu to search for the hospital to cure his cancer, but it turns out the hospital offers some false information. But we can only talk about Baidu as a stock. So how does Baidu look right now?
Well, the computers pick up the word investigation, Chinese authorities, so they sell first, ask questions later. It was definitely a very dirty move by the situation, because you had earnings last week that were good. Traders probably felt comfortable being long Baidu after it, and then they got kind of sucker punched today. So it's going to have some lasting little effects. Like, look what happened. The stock went out looking good after earnings. You thought you didn't have to deal with any event risk, and then pow. So at this point, I think that traders are going to be very careful and not want to take it overnight. And if it stays now below the 200-day for multiple sessions, I'd be very careful. At this point, you have active support right here from today, which is about 176.50. And if it was an emotional move, it'll come back very fast. If it stays below this, just say this gap, and doesn't fill this gap here and doesn't get back above 182, 185 anytime quickly, you could see more downside if the investigation, I guess, starts to get a little bit more scrutiny.
好的，感谢您的收看，我们明天再见。